Right, so recording has started, so I'm going to ask you all, seeing as there is only 8, to please introduce yourselves and just say what hall you're from. I'll start with me. I'm Eileen Murray and I'm from Grimsby Village Hall.
I'm Wendy Long, I'm from Salisbury Memorial Hall.
Thank you. Anne?
I'm Anne Hewson from Brindleton Pavilion.
Okay. Bilal?
I'm Bilal and I'm from Catherine Beckett's Community Centre in Preston.
Thank you. Alice?
Yeah, Alice Desmond. I'm from Forton Community Centre, which is just north of Garstang.
Thank you. Jane?
I'm Jane Dew and I'm from the Toll Bar Cafe at Broughton.
Thank you. Peter?
I'm Peter Holstead and I'm from Clayton on Brock Memorial Hall.
And David?
I'm David Proctor and I'm from Ridchester Village Hall.
Super. Have I got everybody there? I think I have. Right, smashing. So tonight's scintillating subject is insurance.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Nothing to do with insurance at all, but I can only see 4 people on the screen, and previously I've been able to see everybody. Is that normal that I can only see 4?
No.
And if not,
I'm
what
the
should
same,
I can only see 4 as well.
Look at your settings. If you look somewhere along your settings, there'll be different views.
Over there.
There's an icon at the top that says view, and if you click on that, you might be able to, change what you can see.
And for some of you, if you're on a tablet, it might be on the bottom.
All right, okay, yeah.
No, I've got to show participants. That just brings up something down the side.
And I've clicked on it. I've got gallery.
Yeah.
But just with a tick. But
I've got speaker. Oh, together mode. That'll be good.
All together mode.
All together might be it. Oh hell, I've just done something wrong.
Together mode. Oh, large gallery. What's that?
Oh my gosh.
I can see everybody. They're like on a stone wall.
Oh,
I know, that's amazing.
I found it. It says large. It said more actions and then large gallery.
Right. Okay.
And now I can. Right. Sorry to have distracted everybody.
No. We're all learning. We're all learning. So none of us. Well, most of us aren't so familiar with Teams. So that was helpful, Anne. So thank you.
I've got somebody eating a nice lolly there. That's pretty good.
Mine.
Oh, that's
okay. So
can I just ask Eileen? Sorry, I can see everybody now, but literally it's like a stone steps, and then I can just see people.
Right. That's what I've got.
Oh right.
I've no idea.
I'm on the 3rd row back. Yeah.
Yes.
Denise,
okay.
Introduce yourself, please.
Oh, I'm Denise Partington. I work at Community Futures, which is the Rural Community Council for Lancashire.
Yes. And if anybody doesn't already know Denise, make sure you get to know her. Community Futures are so useful for village halls. They are absolutely wonderful, and they're 30 quid membership. There are other levels of program. Is 30 quid very well spent. So
and can I just qualify the fact that I haven't paid you to say that?
Hey Denise, I realised yesterday I haven't paid my renewal. I'm in the process of sorting that out now. You'll be glad to know.
You might get a discount for that introduction then.
Right, okay, so this evening's all about insurance. Now, obviously, insurance is very important for village halls. We have it generally with various providers, and we often get bits and bobs of questions at the in-person meetings, so it seemed worthwhile to have one purely on insurance. So who's got the first question for us? Has everybody got their insurance details?
I need to go and get mine.
Okay. I know that we're with the same as Salisbury, Wendy. We're with Allied Westminster, as you are too, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, this is our 2nd year with them. Previously, we were with Ecclesiastical for many, many years.
Ecclesiastical, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. What made you change out of interest?
I think we just shopped around rather than just did the usual let's renew, just say it's only gone up 10 quid type of thing. We heard about Allied Westminster. I'm guessing through LAVCH, through Community Futures, through other village halls. So we just made inquiries with them and then opted to take them, to use them.
We have found them very, very competitive in pricing. I think they were our second or third jump. Richard does shop around every now and then, but I think we were particularly impressed with them during COVID in some of the advice they sent out.
Right.
They seem to be very switched on to village halls.
Sorry, which company was this?
Allied Westminster. Our premium is similar to yours. We're 1470.5, which I think is fixed for 3 years.
Right, yeah, and we were pretty much the same, 1400. And
Sorry, what? How much do you pay, Eileen?
£1,470.50
Per year,
That's
obviously.
very good. Do you have a play area, or is it just up the hall?
We don't have a play area now.
Right. Do
What-
you?
and what-
You
And
don't.
what does that cover you, Eileen? Is that
It's
thefts and all sorts and
everything,
building
yes.
burning down?
Buildings, contents, theft. There's a small amount for, and this is part of their package. We didn't ask for it. Trustee indemnity insurance, which frankly I think is worth the paper it's printed on.
We've heard that before, Eileen.
Yeah, loss of revenue, public liability 10 million, employers liability 10 million. Oh, I like that, public liability, including libel and slander. We're not insured for loss of rent. We're not insured for loss of our license, and we're not insured for terrorism.
Right.
That's-
I don't know. I actually don't know what we pay. Alan Tomlinson, our chair, would look after all that sort of stuff. But I will pass, excuse me, meeting notes to him from this meeting, because we have a problem insofar as a lot of schools come down to Ribchester Village Hall, and they come down to visit the Roman Museum, and they dump all their school bags and everything in our village hall and use it to have their lunch there. But invariably, they walk out of the village hall, leave it open, go to the museum, have a wander around the village, and then come back and have their lunch. In the meantime, the village hall is left open quite often, and we've got quite a bit of technical equipment in there with sound systems and PA systems and lighting systems. So we're in the process of trying to upgrade our security. So from an insurance point of view, we're dead in the water, I think.
That would be a tricky one. I'm curious.
Yeah.
So they hire your hall to use as a base for going to visit
Yes.
the museum.
Yes. Yes.
Do you not have any hire agreement that says that if you leave the premises empty, you have to lock the door?
Yes, but it's usually ignored.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a difficult one. It really is a difficult one.
That's
And we're going to have a major security meeting about keypad systems and all sorts of things to lock the hall up. Yeah.
So does somebody let them in, but then they haven't got a key to lock it when they temporarily leave?
That's right, Sam. That's right.
Why don't you just give them a key?
The curator of the museum lets them in, but then goes back to the museum to show them around and show them how the Romans took over Ribchester, or built Ribchester, and then
Is there not a simple solution to that? Just give the curator 2 keys.
One to the headmaster or
One to
the
the
teacher.
member of staff and tell
Yeah.
them lock up when you come across.
Yeah.
Let yourselves back in again when you go across, and drop the key back to me.
Or if you got yourself a keypad system, you could change your key, your security key code every month, and they could be told that at the beginning of the day, and the door locks, and then they know how to get back in afterwards.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
we're
much
aiming
easier
to
than a
do,
key.
Peter. That's what
It wasn't expensive to get a keypad. We just got one, and it wasn't. I can't remember what it cost, but it wasn't very expensive, really.
Good, because there's too many keys to the village hall floating around Winchester.
Yeah, we've got that same problem, David.
Yeah.
Peter, I'm really interested to know how much that system cost you. So
yeah, I can't tell you. I can let you know. I'll find out and let you know.
Please
Thank
do.
you.
I send the link,
Thank
by
you.
the way. I don't send notes from these meetings. I'm too sodding lazy. I just send a link to the video that gets uploaded to YouTube, so anybody can go and watch it. But when I send that around, I'll also send any salient things that are forwarded to me afterwards, like the keypad system.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Thanks, Peter.
No problem.
We're paying 1,760 with somebody called BP Insurance Brokers, but that is a playground and a bowling green as well.
Wow.
We thought we were cheap. I think we're on 2,000 and something with Norris and Fisher, who were sort of neck and neck when we moved to them with Allied Westminster.
Oh, that's interesting.
Your 1,470 is looking good at the moment.
Yeah. And I mean, I think our rebuild costs, because does everybody know that you need to update your rebuild costs periodically? Because if you don't, and if you're underinsured, one thing I can tell you all that I do know, but I'm not an expert by any means on insurance, is if you are underinsured, let's say your last time you estimated your rebuild cost, it was 800,000, and you had a significant incident like a fire or anything actually, and they came in and said, your rebuild costs are actually 1,400,000, they would only pay you the proportionate amount of any claim. Even if the actual claim was only for 500,000, they would only pay you 8 divided by 14 times that.
When you say you should get that updated periodically, how often would you say?
I don't know. Ask your insurance company.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Allied Westminster are very good because they actually jog you about all of these things. That's why.
Yeah, I was going to say Norris and Fisher have just done the same thing for us.
It was when we moved to Allied Westminster that they asked us, and we had it actually done then by a QS. And then since then they've done it. I think. Fortunately, Richard's not here. He's the one who actually knows all of this. They've done it on a pro rata based on some industry standard, but that wasn't so long ago that the rebuild was the reevaluation was done, and I was surprised by how much it came back as rebuild costs.
Yeah.
Wasn't there some dialogue? I don't know whether it was on the Facebook thing about something. It appertains to Community Futures, Denise. Where I think it was via Acre. Was it via Acre? Where if you sort of filled in some sort of questionnaire or other, you could probably get a reduction. I mean, I think we do with Norris and Fisher. You know, you filled in a health check, for want of a better description.
Yes, I think Acre, they don't recommend Allied Westminster, but they definitely use them as associates and get deals for village halls because of their connection to Acre. It's definitely pushed through there. But I don't know.
Advertise on the Acre website, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I think they do. Yeah.
The thing I'm talking about, was it Ruth was going to follow it up? This is a month or two ago. Does nobody else remember?
What?
It was something that if you got this bit of paper, I think you got a reduction in your insurance thing.
Oh, I see.
I'll just search through our group for questions on insurance.
Was that where I saw it? I can't remember. I think we've talked about it before.
Sorry, I'm just reading it. You know, as soon as I've looked for anything to do with insurance, you'll know what has come straight up. Those of you who are regulars to these meetings, I'm not going to mention
Bouncy castles.
I'm not going to mention the BC word.
What?
The dreaded bouncy castles.
No.
Yes, dreaded.
Right, Simon Kirkman, I've renewed our hall insurance today, and one of the questions was about whether our hall is a hallmark Hall.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, Hallmark, right? Yes, she did.
You can get up to £90 per year off your insurance if you get level 3.
Yeah. I think she did respond to that, I think, if I remember, because she definitely spoke to me about it, because no village halls are offering the Hallmark scheme anymore. No rural community councils are actually offering the scheme because of the administration problems and the cost of running the scheme.
Yeah.
But I think that's as far as she got.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, because when she mentioned it, I thought, crikey, that's a blast from the past, because we used to run the Hallmark scheme, but it's an assessment scheme that you have to run as the RCC, and we just haven't got the capacity to do it. But not many RCCs have. I think most of them, if not all, have abandoned the Hallmark scheme. But that's not to say with a bit of sort of like national push on this that we might revive the scheme if that's. But if it's just for an insurance discount. Ooh.
Well, it would be good to know how long it lasted for once you'd got it, because if it lasted for, I don't know, 5 years, or there was just a tick box sort of to say, yeah, we're still doing this, that and the other, people might be prepared to pay Community Futures £100 to get it, to then proceed to save, you know, something every single year. So it might be worth pursuing, mightn't it?
Yes, yeah, it might be, because if there's enough people that want it, if there's enough halls, we can pay for the capacity to do that then. If they're coming in sort of ad hoc, and I think that's what's been happening. You can't employ somebody just to wait and find out if a village hall is going to need it or want it. So I have a feeling it was a capacity issue with us back in the day. It's before my time. But it means that some dedicated person has to provide that. So if you haven't got somebody doing a similar role, then it's very difficult to do that. But like I said, if there was a number of village halls, I mean, if we could get enough village halls on the books that want it.
I think we'd need to understand how many insurance companies would offer the discount.
Yes, exactly.
Well, yes, yeah.
Company he's with in his post. So I don't know what it is. For those who are relatively new to our group, by the way, this group that I'm referring to, it's a Facebook discussion forum, which is really, really useful. And if you or anybody on your committee is on Facebook, I strongly recommend that you join it. I'll put a reminder in that when I send around the link as well. So yes, he hasn't said. I mean, if Allied Westminster were offering an example, it might well be worth Denise, because I bet you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another one that on insurance, and unfortunately Peter from Barton wasn't able to make this evening because he's on holiday. But they're having they've had solar panels installed, and they're going to get battery jammy beggars. They're getting battery storage installed as well. But they've put some interesting criteria on what they have to do in terms of upgrading their fire alarm system. I thought was interesting is the word I'll use.
Because of the battery?
Sorry?
Because of the battery, is that why?
He didn't actually specifically say if it was because it must be, Anne, mustn't it? Because why on earth would they do it for solars? It just doesn't matter. But one of the requirements is they were making it that it had to have one of the systems that would notify, would automatically would send an alert out to a monitoring company if the alarm.
Right.
It was the solar panels that caused the fire at Inchcape.
Sorry?
The Land Rover garage at Preston.
Yeah.
It was and it's burnt down. It was the solar panels that did that.
The solar panels.
Is that why the Range Rover garage is closed on Bluebell Way?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, it's not completely closed. They just moved it across. They just moved the cars across.
They thought it was an electric car plug-in that had started the fire, but apparently it was the solar panels.
Oh, wow.
Having a bit of knowledge of solar panels, I'll try and investigate that a bit further, because I'm, in all honesty, struggling to understand how solar panels could cause a fire.
I just wondered if it was like in the village hall that would be left empty, whether it was an issue when buildings are empty.
It's obvious it's obvious why they want the alert thing, but I mean, Grimms has had solar panels now since 2011, and our insurance have never asked for that. So I'm very, that's why I'm quite interested.
Well, I'm only.
They are photovoltaic, aren't they? And it must be the batteries that were the problem, not the actual photovoltaic panels.
Yeah.
I would have thought it means that they've got battery storage backup.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. We know with batteries, depending on the battery technology that you're using, batteries can burst on fire.
Yes, they can.
Yeah. It's like the electric bikes, isn't it? And
yes, it is. It is.
Wires have been connected with them.
That's
well, it's like phones and things as well, isn't it? You know, that sometimes when things change and when there's new developments, there's elements of the safety and things that catch up later. Yeah, I'll look into that a bit more. I'm very
I'm only saying what we were told.
No, absolutely. No, I appreciate that. I mean, I've got all sorts of reasons why I'm very interested in that, Jane. One, I really want our next project. We're having a rendering project this summer, and I want Grimms's next project to be battery storage to go with the solar panels to optimize the amount that we use. We used to have a preschool that used us extensively during the day, and we haven't. So now our main use is nighttime. That's a great solar panels, you know, but battery storage. I'm also really nosy because we've got shed loads of battery storage in our house. So I'm very curious. I'm not afraid. I don't get afraid about this, but I'm just naturally curious. So
yeah. But no.
Does anybody have bonfires?
No.
I don't mean in the garden. I mean, do you hold bonfires?
No.
Right. Okay.
No.
We do. Yes. Well, I think we're one of the few villages that still do, really, round here. And our insurance will cover us up to 500 people coming. If we thought there were going to be more than 500, then we would have to go to them. I mean, I think they would still insure us, but we'd probably have to pay something in excess of what our normal premium is.
We have no real demand for it.
That's right.
It's the music.
Who's that? Is somebody coming in?
Could be a doorbell. No, there's nobody else waiting to come in. So.
All right. Okay.
What's that?
Anne, how do you monitor that for the 500? Is it just?
You sell tickets?
We sell tickets. Yeah. Originally, historically, people just turned up and put a donation in a bucket.
Yes.
And actually we made the most money when we had that system. And then there's a big bonfire in Clitheroe, which the Rotary run. And one year, I think Rotary fell out with the council because of some requirement the council wanted, and that didn't happen. So the people that would normally go to Clitheroe wanted to go somewhere else. And so we had lots of people turned up, and we had the road blocked because this little lady that was going along couldn't manage to reverse and what have you. And it was, I mean, we were fine. We probably did have more than 500 that year, but that made us go to ticketing. And so initially we physically sold tickets, and that was a bit tedious because people do come from surrounding villages and Clitheroe. Like to go to a smaller bonfire, and we don't have any alcohol, and they can also bring sparklers to our bonfire. We can't at the big one in Clitheroe. Anyway, for the last 2 years now, we've gone on to Ticket Source, which is so much easier. So much easier. So we sell them on there. We can stop ticket sales. Whatever we do, people will turn up at the gate, but it isn't huge numbers. And we don't quite double the price on the gate, but we advertise that on the gate it will be significantly more expensive. So there's an incentive to try and book the ticket before.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And that satisfies your insurer then, doesn't it?
Yes.
I mean,
So really, you know, we would probably stop sales at about 420 or something like that.
Right. Oh, that's good.
So it largely works very well, really.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, it's good.
Can I ask you, who organises the bonfire then, Anne?
Well, our committee do. We organise it. We've got, being rural, as quite a few of you are, we've got some good farmers. So we've got a farmer on the committee. So he seems to get loads of pallets together. So he comes down, he usually doesn't build the bonfire either until the morning or the day before. So he builds the bonfire. We go out and put sort of electric fence posts with red and white tape to sort of keep people in a particular area. And then we do hot dogs and tea and cakes and stuff like that. And to be honest, and then we're quite fortunate because the pavilion and the football field and the bonfire site are all on one side of the road. And on the other side of the road, we actually now own the cricket field. So the fireworks and the display can be let off in the cricket field, well away from anybody else. So the setup works really well, actually.
And do you actually make money at it, Anne?
Yeah. I mean, in a good year, we might make £1,000. Certainly upper 800s, 900.
It's a good thing for your to pay towards your insurance, that isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And we're very fortunate that the garden centre near Clitheroe, they used to sell fireworks. They don't any longer, but they can still get them. And one of the chaps that owns it hails from our village, and he loves coming and doing this. It does a really, really good firework display. It's absolutely excellent. So he turns up with his team of lads to do it. And I think, to be honest, I know for a fact he subsidises the cost of the fireworks as well as what we pay. But I mean, it's going to be this year. You're saying about 1,250 for the fireworks.
Yeah.
You have to raise quite a bit before you start to make it.
You do, yeah.
So, but it's, and the thing is, officially, I think we start at 5:30, and really by 7 or 7:15, everybody's going. You know, it's a very sort of brief event. But we get quite a lot of small children coming with parents, obviously. Quite a few young adults come as well, actually. I don't know why. But it's a nice event. And if we, I don't think, well, obviously, if we didn't feel we could be in control, we wouldn't do it. And we have to report. We do have to do a fire assessment and what have you. And actually, I think last year, somebody from maybe the last 2 years, somebody from the fire service has actually been on the day and sort of inspected the setup.
Yeah. Very good.
Sounds ideal. Sounds lovely. I'm curious, has anybody made a claim on their insurance?
Not that I'm
Not
aware
that I know of.
No. It's interesting, isn't it? We all have it. I was just curious to know if anybody ever has. Yeah.
No.
We had a situation, probably 5 or 6 years ago now, where a lady went into a room off the main hall where we store the tables and chairs, and she managed to sort of turn around and trip over a table leg. I mean, she'd no business to be in there in the first instance. Anyway, sadly, she fell and landed on the tile floor and broke her hip. So we did have quite a lot of discussions with the insurance company at that point, because of course we didn't know whether she was going to try and claim that somehow it was our fault that she'd fallen. But she never did. But the insurance company were very good and very supportive and told us, you know, who we should be notifying and to write. We wrote, you know, they instructed us about writing a report about the incident so that we'd got all the information collected fresh, as it were, rather than, you know, 9 months down the line when it hadn't healed or something and she decided she was going to sue us or something.
But that would come under your public liability anyway, wouldn't it, Anne?
Yes, it would all have been covered. Yeah, it would all have been covered. But the insurance company were, you know, very simple.
Just approach us once. It was their child was actually at an event being run by one of our hirers, and they gashed their arm quite badly. So they sued both the hirer, or they tried, sorry. Their solicitors contacted both the hirer and us. And it did go on for months with questions going to and from our insurers and all the rest of it. But now came of it. It was a fairly spurious thing because there was an area that we had actually made it very, very clear. It was during the summer months, area where work was going on, so it was out of bounds and it had to be fully fenced off by the hirer. But apparently this child was an absolute little, pardon the phrase, well, yeah, it was just an absolute brat. I'll use the term brat.
Be careful, Alan.
Yeah, and was just totally wayward and willful, and really should have marched out of the sessions, but they didn't, and which was their response. But I don't think either they or us were ever found liable. But it's an interesting experience because it did put us through the, you know, one of the things they wanted to see was our hire agreement and everything, and there was lots and lots of questions. But I think we were a little bit anxious, but reasonably comfortable. And yeah, our insurance didn't say, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that" or anything like that. So that was it was just interesting, but not alarming.
Can I digress a bit, because we might be a bit limited if we just stick to insurance? You've just mentioned hire agreements or terms and conditions or whatever you want to call them. I mean, it's nearly 11 years since we opened the pavilion, and we started off, you know, sort of with this is the booking form and these are the terms and conditions, and please sign and please return it. And hardly anybody ever returned it, and it was really a bit of a waste of time. So we've now got it set up so that when somebody books an event, they automatically get sent the terms and conditions along with something that says we will take the fact that you book the hall as acceptance of our terms and conditions, and that seems to be about the best we can do in terms of anything that might vaguely hold water if they came back to us, because we did, you know, something with a signature on. Well, I don't know how valued that is really, but we certainly weren't getting it back, and I don't know whether anybody else manages to get them back or what you do.
Sean's not here tonight. She couldn't make it, but with it being insurance, you know, we both agreed that wouldn't be a big issue. But I'm reasonably confident to say that I won't let anybody across our threshold without having the signed hire agreement. However, what you have said that you do, Anne, should cover you legally anyway. Back in the day, many years ago, as an engineer, I had to study law and contract law particularly, and that was one of the things that we were told. You always have to be very careful when people are negotiating terms, because it can come down to the last email sent. And if there's a little clause that says, "I trust that on receiving this, if you don't come back to us, you're accepting these terms and conditions," and that's legal. So yeah, what you're doing should be.
Yeah.
Well, that's reassuring.
Yeah, we send out the hire agreement in a separate booking form. These are done electronically, and the hirer has got to complete the booking form, and sign it at the bottom, and it says, "I agree to the terms and conditions in the hire agreement."
Yeah.
So, and then we'll be going on to Hallmaster from September.
Ooh.
So I think there'll be something similar into that.
Yeah.
I've noticed. Sorry, go on.
Are all one document. If we were to give somebody a paper copy, it would be double-sided, but they don't. They get it emailed. So on signing and completing the booking form, that is signing the terms and agreements of the hire agreement. So
I have noticed over the past 2-3 years the different ranges of hiring agreements across all village halls. For some reason, I thought everybody was using a fairly standard one, but there's such a variation in the hiring agreements. I'm assuming that some have been in place for a long time and might need a bit of an upgrade. But we do have a model hiring agreement that was designed specifically for village halls, and we always say, have a look at this. alter it, change it, just, you know, do what you want with it.
With a barge pole. Won't touch it with a barge pole, because I mean, it's the acre one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It references so many things, like doesn't it have safeguarding, food hygiene, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Oh,
so it's just not. Are you saying it's not a workable document then for a village hall? Would you say? I mean, we don't know. We just offer it.
In my opinion, it could leave us exposed if we put something like that out, because if somebody decides they're hiring the village hall for something that isn't covered and they infringe the law, they can say, well, you didn't say that in your hiring agreement. I haven't had food.
I see.
Yeah.
All right.
Admission could actually leave you exposed. So we have a line item at the bottom of our single page hire agreement that says the hirer is responsible for complying with all legislation pertinent to whatever they are hiring the hall for.
That seems like a more sensible approach, because I really need guidance on this from you, because as village halls, because we're saying these things are available, but if they're not practically usable, then
I'm not saying not, and you know, Acre are supposedly, you know, and certainly Acre and yourselves were very good through COVID. But then we all know what Acre did for us on the PRS and PPL. But moving on, you know, they can get things wrong, and I will always also say as well, when you go and hire a car in this country, they do not give you a copy of the highway code. So if you're going to have a hire agreement that's got reference to lots of legal things, what are you missing out?
It's a sledgehammer to crack a nut then, basically, isn't it? Because what you're looking for is an agreement between you and the hirer that works for both sides, yeah? And this, in your opinion, doesn't do it. I'd be interested to find out if anybody actually does use that, because that would be great feedback for Acre to know if anybody is actually using the model.
Wendy's got a hand up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not using the model, Denise. But we didn't know about the model initially. I joined the village hall about 4 or 5 years ago now, and there was no hire agreement in place. And a lady had been taking the booking, showing people around, and that was it. So myself and one of my colleagues, committee members, then we actually set up a hire agreement, and we started from scratch. Absolutely. And ours, we've still got it, and that was before obviously we found out about the Acre one. Ours is about 10 pages, which may shock you. You know, when I tried to do small
print. You expect people to read 10 pages?
Yes. But you know, it contains, and it might be a bit OTT, and it might need reviewing or whatever, but you know, it starts off and we've got the map, and we've got contact details, and we've got what the facilities are, and we've got about cleaning the hall after use, and all sorts of things, and what isn't allowed. So candles are not allowed, fireworks are not allowed, henna is not allowed, and so it keeps getting added to or tweaked as there's an incident. But I do take your point, Eileen, that maybe it's specifying all these things you can and can't do when using the hall, but something else could crop up, and they said, well, it's not in the hire agreement, you've mentioned all these other things.
It's a good point, this. If
you specify that henna's not allowed, and somebody brings in a bottle of Quink and throws that all over your floor, surely just the "you must leave the hall as you find it" is the only wording needed.
Yeah, and we've got that in, and that they should clean up after use and things like that. But we only put henna in because there was an instance where somebody.
You have to be very well, in my view, you have to be really, really careful. And I'll give you an instance in a minute about how we fell foul of that. But in all sorts of walks of life, I've often had people say, don't try to fix a particular incident by making your procedures and policies more complicated and adding additional bolt-ons, because you do end up in that situation that people just don't read the sodding thing. Now, we had was one of our biggest bugbears at our village hall, and it could end up being an insurance claim, is, believe it or not, putting away our chairs and tables appropriately. because our chairs have to be stacked a certain way, and they have to be stacked 7 high in order to get them into the cupboard that they fit in.
Yeah.
Occasionally we have people who quite obviously, quite literally, have stood at the door, somebody's handed them the chairs, and they've lobbed them in. And each time we and I, in a fit of pique after a meeting earlier on this year, wrote out these forms with, once again, there was already illustrations and everything up there, but I just made it absolutely clear, you'll lose your deposit, blah, 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 wrote them all up, put them on the door. All of the next 4 or 5 events, things were worse. And I was but it up for people. It just sort of said that one of the people, you know, she showed them everything on the door and they just said, too much information. Too much.
Yeah. It's interesting that. Thank you very much for this, because I think this is really good feedback for Acre, because I don't know anybody, even though we're saying we have this model agreement, I don't think anybody's used it. And they must have done what you've done. They've looked through it. I haven't, and thought this is just too much. So
Too much.
Yeah.
I think if we'd have known about it at the time, 4 years ago, we would have used it.
Yeah, but maybe pared it down a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I think we just tried to cover what we thought was every eventuality. Obviously it wasn't. And from what you've just said, maybe we could be on a sticky wicket if something else pops along and we've not included it. So the person said, well, you didn't tell me I shouldn't bring ink in or whatever.
Yeah.
I've noticed that, I'll let him in. Simon Kirkman has now joined us. Simon, do you just want to say a quick hello and where you're from, if you can hear me? No, he's here, but he's not here.
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah.
I am. Yes, good afternoon, evening as we are now. Simon from Castle Village Hall.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry I was late. I'm trying to get my daughter to go to sleep.
Even though you weren't physically present, you already contributed to the meeting, because somebody raised your query about the discount, the 90 quid discount for having the that accreditation. So we actually went and looked on the Facebook group to find your comment. So you have already contributed. So there you go.
Oh, that's good. And is there a response to that one?
Yes, it's just that it doesn't exist anymore. But Denise has sort of raised the point that Community Futures might be able to administer it, but we'd have to understand how many insurance companies offered the discount and who they were. So who are you insured with?
Allied Westminster, I think it is.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. They sound very popular.
Yeah.
It's quite a specialist Halls insurance, David. That's why I think they really understand.
Right.
Yeah, I think Norris and Fisher are the same. I think there's they're the two I know of who are like West Bradford near us are with Allied Westminster, I think.
Simon, have you any questions about insurance now you're with us?
No, I don't think I have, to be honest. The only thing I would be really interested in is if everyone actually had a figure of how much they paid for their insurance, and we could all go, oh, we paid half that, or you paid, paid double that.
So far we've got a 1,400, a 1,470, and a 2,000 and something.
And I think we were about 2,200. We're quite a small hall as well, so I do feel it's quite high.
It just sounded a bit
play area, Simon.
What's that, sorry?
Have you got a play area or a football field?
Not that we look after. No, they belong to the parish council.
Oh, right. Just sound quite high then, doesn't it?
That is
Yeah.
high. We're 14. We're the 1470, and we're with Allied Westminster as well. Do you? No idea. I think you need to get back onto them and say, "Oi."
Yeah, well, I'm just diving into my finances. I don't know if I've just disappeared off.
Yeah, you have. Don't worry.
Right, I'm just diving into the accounts now to double check exactly what we paid.
I'm just about to disappear, delving into our accounts. A bit more specific than the 2,000 and something. I might discover it isn't 2,000 and something.
Yeah. Where is it?
You're paying 2,000 and something, aren't you?
Well, I think I'm just about to confirm that because I cleverly managed to hand it on to somebody else. So I don't actually do it, and I should have looked it up before this this meeting.
Actually, I'm totally wrong. It was a fraction of that. So we've had 864.
Wow.
Okay,
I
think we got a quote from somewhere else that was more.
Yeah, right.
Who are you paying? Who are you paying that with, Simon?
Allied Westminster.
All right. Okay.
But
So,
you say you are quite a small hall. Am I right in thinking you haven't got a bar or anything either?
No bar. Yeah, there's a lot of things we've not got like that. So yeah, but yeah, there it is. So yeah, 86422. So now I wonder if I'm underinsured.
Well, earlier, just a very quick recap. Make sure that you are fully insured, because you're probably aware of this. If you're not, and you have to make a claim, and they can say you are underinsured, they'll only pay proportionately according to your insurance versus what you should have insured for. So
yeah, we got them to value the building 18 months ago.
Okay.
So they valued the building for us, so we're happy about that. The content, I suppose we've got £6,000 worth of new chairs this year that perhaps aren't as well covered as they might be now, thinking about it, because that's probably since the renewal. So in terms of contents, I suppose they've just gone up. Plus, we've just got a grant for £20,000 for the toilets. So
wow. Where did you get that from?
Lancashire Environmental Fund.
Oh God.
For toilets,
To get the toilets done. Yeah.
That's very unusual for LAVCH.
I know.
So this is for like ladies and gents toilets to be refurbished, or?
Yeah, ladies, gents and disabled will to be refurbished.
Wow. So do you have a disabled toilet at the moment?
Yeah, we've got all that at the minute. It's just a refresh.
Refurb.
I don't know how Jan managed to get it by, but I know that Jan, who's our secretary, spoke to Andy at LEF at Rings Bell.
Yeah. She must have got him in a very good mood.
Yeah.
They're going to be very posh toilets.
Oh, they are.
Hey.
They're going to be. They might be as good as Grims's.
I was going to say. Oh, sorry, I can trump that. 50 ours cost us.
Wow.
Yeah.
50k for our refurb. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, somebody's in.
Yeah, our insurance might go up next. But no, I'm reasonably happy now. I've heard those figures on insurance that I think we're about right.
Good.
Yeah, I found out.
You're in twice. You need to take one of your profiles off.
Yes, it's a mistake, isn't it? I don't know how to do that.
Well, at least mute.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm about to run out of batteries. I'm just going to get something to plug in.
Ow.
Ouch. Yeah.
Which one are you going to, please, can you take one of them out?
Yes, I'm just
telling you. Get someone to leave. See, if you hold on, yeah, I can say remove from meeting on one of them.
I've muted one, but it won't necessarily work.
One's disappeared now.
Right, good.
Okay.
Yeah, I managed to do that for you.
Oh, well done. I'm just going to get to plug it in as the battery's running down.
Right, okay. Well, I would have kicked one out, but I didn't know which one to kick out.
No.
Bernard, you raised your hand. What would you like to ask or say?
I suppose that I missed the conversation then because of the background noise. I was just trying to pick up the thread about, was someone referring to grants from LEF? We're about to think about decorating New Longton Village Hall.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the Lancashire Environmental Fund, I think they do like 2 rounds of funding a year, I believe. I don't know that much about it. It's my secretary that's done most of the work. But yeah, they've got a couple of rounds of funding a year. And I think if you have a chat to them first about your project, and they'll help you frame it correctly to fit their grant scheme.
So I heard the name Andy mentioned. Is he the point of contact, Simon, please?
I believe so.
Andy Rowett.
Andy Rowett. He's the head of Lancashire Environmental Fund and a lovelier man you will not meet.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
He is.
I mean, we're looking at some very provisional costings have got us around 12k for the whole of the hall and the 2 adjacent rooms. Is that? I mean, we've always thought that we sort of try and work towards match funding. Is that sort of in the ballpark figures they would consider?
I've just pulled their thing up.
I think they pay up to about 75%.
Okay.
We've just got an LEF one.
They'll actually pay a lot more than that, and they'll pay virtually the whole thing, bar the third party if it's a particular project that they really, really love. And their maximum grant is 40,000.
Right.
Yeah. It's all on their, if you go on their website, it tells you about these things. But if you're going for a big grant, the third party contribution could be quite big.
It could be, but they also sometimes have ways of finding that as well.
So that's the Lancashire Environment Fund.
Environmental. It's landfill tax money.
Right, yeah.
You have to be within, I think it's 10 miles of a landfill site.
Well, we are, because we've got the big one just on the outskirts of Leyland, which is about 4 miles from the village hall.
Oh, right. So you're good.
In fact, virtually the whole of the county is within 10 miles because it's also dead ones. And there's a lot more of us near to little mini landfill sites that we don't even know. There's very little of the county that isn't 10 miles, within 10 miles radius. So.
Thank you for that. And again, apologies, I missed, were we quoting some average figures for hall insurance? And I missed that again because of the background noise.
Okay. Well, Simon was the lowest, coming in at 800 and something. Then there were a couple of us at 1,400 and 1,470, and Anne was 2,000 plus.
Yes, well, I've just, while I managed to rejoin twice, and I still can't see you, so I don't know what I've managed to do here. I've just found our figure for a couple of years ago. I haven't found a most recent one, so I think we're probably about 1,500 actually. I'm wrong saying it was 2,000.
Oh, okay. So that's broadly similar.
That's very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got a football field and a cricket field and a children's play area and a mugger. So we've got, and a bar. So we've got quite a lot, really.
That's quite a good deal then for that. For that. Yeah.
Our renewal's fully has come today, actually, £1,200.
Right. Sorry, who said that?
From Norris and Fisher, still Bernard, sorry, from Norris and Fisher.
Okay.
And that's fixed for 4 years.
Right. Okay. That's broadly similar-ish then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's within the range. Yeah. Thank you for that, Ali. Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you, colleagues.
Okay. Anybody else got any?
Sorry, I can't see you for some reason now since I got thrown out because I tried to join twice. I don't click the button that says rejoin. You might get a lot of nasty noise again. Yeah. When we were David was talking about the key problem and what have you earlier on, and then somebody else said yes, half the village has got keys or whatever. Yeah. I mean, we're just in the process of having a key policy. I don't know what the key policy is going to say. I mean, at the moment, I keep a record of who has keys and which keys they have, because obviously there are different keys for different things. And the good thing is that the keys for because our building is alarmed, so you can disarm the fob if keys get lost or whatever. I just wondered what other people did about keys. I mean, we tend to give them to, once somebody becomes a regular hirer, we will give them keys, because we can't be having people running up and down every 2 minutes to let people in and out for an hour's Pilates class or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. At Salisbury, at Salisbury, we have a key fob system. So our regular hirers sign for a key fob and pay a £10 deposit, and so they can let themselves in for the various keep fit activities or whatever. If they lose the fob, then it's £10 for another one, or they get the £10 back if once they've finished at the hall, if they're not going to continue. For our ad hoc hirers, again, they get a key fob. They don't have to pay for a deposit, but they get a key fob, and then at the end of the evening, that's placed in the letterbox. So
what does the key fob do?
The key fob, so it's just like a small blue disc, and we have a panel at the side door, and they just put the key fob up against it, and then it opens the door. It releases the catch to open the door. It's just instead of a key.
It's an electronic one.
Yeah,
Right.
we had it installed 3 years ago now, 4 years ago maybe.
Right.
Do you know how much that was?
No, I'd have to check how much it was for, but I can let Eileen know.
If you could, I'd be curious in that as well, because
I
I would
would.
be quite keen to change what I think at the last
Yes, I'd be interested in that.
there were 50 odd sets of keys running around from Grimsby Village Hall.
Well,
Yeah.
That's
It
a
was,
hell of we've never had
Yeah.
one of
The
those.
firm at Briarfield fit it for us, Blake is, but they fit the system, and then we got, I think, 10 fobs initially, and then we purchased another 20, and they will come and activate them and charge you an arm and a leg. So it's easier just to follow the booklet and do it yourselves.
Right, okay. I mean, I'd be quite interested in the keypad type system, but I need to persuade others. And they're right, we haven't got a problem. I just get twitchy with 50 odd keys around the village.
Yeah.
I mean, that just operates on our side door, but that's where we let people, you know, that's what we, you know, give out to people. We have double doors at the front of the building that need a key, but they can be opened internally. So it's up to the hirer then to open for them for the guests.
Simon, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been looking at a digital keypad system that has codes that only operates at set times. So your dance class can only get in for half an hour either side of their class, and that's it. And things like that. And then the code doesn't work for the rest of the week. So, you know, they can have a 4-digit number that they tell their users because they can only get in at the time of their class. And then generates a code for parties. You can generate a one-off code and things like that. So that's a system I found online. Unfortunately, our doors won't work with it because we've got double glazed doors and they're a bit funny, and you can't fit an electronic lock into the door at the minute. That's my bigger problem. But yeah, I'm looking at this keypad system that I found, and I'm hoping to find a way to start using it.
That electronic system does sound complicated and can be. It needs somebody totally devoted to looking after it, doesn't it?
No. Well, whenever we create a booking on the electronic system, the idea I've had is that we set the codes up, on the system at the same time. Well, I want it to look at the Google Calendar basically, because we've got a Google Calendar. So I want it to tie into my Google Calendar, which you can do, and then just allocate codes for each time slot. Once it's set up, by all accounts, it's quite simple.
The codes are set up automatically, are they then, Peter?
That's the concept. Yeah, that's the concept that the manufacturers tell me that it can do.
Right.
But so far, I've obviously not tried it in practice. But I think once it's set up and running, your regulars will all have a code, and it's just when you've got a party, you just go into it and put the last 4 digits of the person's phone number as the code for their party.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Right. That sounds interesting because we have a booking system, but we have too many keys, like Anne's, we just have too many keys.
Yeah, we've got 30 odd keys floating around the village. I have no idea how many we have, to be honest.
Oh, we're probably more than that.
Have you all got alarm systems or not?
No, we don't have one at Salisbury.
No, we don't.
Because we have So
to have a secure key, they were made and cannot be copied without the security number, which only myself and the secretary holds. 2 were signed out to each organisation at cost. It doesn't prevent them being passed on as such, but at least people can't go to the local hardware shop to copy them.
yes.
No, that's right.
Exactly the sort of system we bought, and then we found out that local locksmiths would duplicate them.
Well, it's been running now for 18 months, and so far we've not been aware that anybody's passed.
Ours was set up, but ours was when we changed the locks. Well, must be going back 16 years ago. We went again for ones that we were guaranteed would not be duplicated. And I think they all run good for a while, and then after a while, it just sort of tends to, yeah.
I suppose because we've got an alarm system, so obviously the alarm should be set all the time. So people who have keys also have an alarm fob, and the alarm system, probably like yours at home, you can interrogate it, so you can see who's been in and what have you. So that gives us I'm just going back to Simon's thing about sort of letting people in at specific times, because sometimes it's very useful for people that, you know, have a key to be able to get in to do something else totally unconnected with the class that they might have a key for. And we can see, as I say, we can see who's been in. And equally, we've only had one set of keys. We had one set of keys that went missing, and I just spoke to the alarm people, and they can disable that particular fob. Then subsequently they were found, so we re-enabled it. And other than that, we've just had one set of keys that went missing, and we've just disabled the fob. So even although the people, if they found the keys, might have the keys to get in, their fob won't work and the alarm will go off the minute they go in.
I mean, we don't have an alarm, and I said we've got 50 odd sets of keys, but you know, the rest of the committee are probably right in saying we haven't got a problem, and they're right. A number of reasons, it's never actually caused us an issue. And 2, if I walk into that village hall and actually look around, the stuff that actually could be nicked, that is seriously worthwhile somebody nicking, it's
minimal.
naffle.
Yeah, no, it's the damage that would be done, isn't it?
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah, no, it's not what they would take, it's the damage, really.
Yes, but I don't think, to be honest, that anybody who is likely to find a spare set of keys, I think that the sort of character you're referring to there isn't going to be the sort of person who's going to find a spare set of keys and actually think, I wonder if they're for the village hall.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you can disable it, the fob.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not knocking it, and I love the sound of your system. What I'm saying is I can see the committee's point when I sort of say, wouldn't it be nice to have keypads and all, and I just go, why? All right, fair enough. Okay.
I mean, that's the advantage of the fob system, because if it does go missing, you can just deactivate it. Whereas if a set of keys go missing, there's always the chance that somebody could find them and use them to get mischief.
To point out to those people who tell me, no, we really don't. We only need 5 minutes for setting up Eileen. Honestly, we do. So we only need to pay for 5 minutes for setting up and breaking down. And I know those buggers are in there half an hour before. But also at the end of the day, people will say, well, so what? If there's nobody been in, they all sign the agreement that says that they only get the time they pay for. So if they turn up half an hour early and somebody in there, well, and they're right. They are absolutely right. The place will be a bit cold because the heating's only been set for the time they start. And, you know, what we're actually losing. And they're right. So I just have to accept that I'm trying to solve a problem we don't have. Even though I still want to. And I would love your system, Anne. I would.
All right.
I'm overruled regularly. I don't mind. Good for me. Knocks my ego down a bit. Right, anybody else got any questions, or are we about done? Because I'm aware that our hour is up. So
no, that's good. Thank you. That's been interesting, actually, even though it was about insurance.
We're good at wandering off the point.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can I ask who people are using for their fire extinguisher servicing?
Not Walker Fire anymore.
We use Pennine Fire Safety, based in Blackburn.
We use Bay Fire from Lancaster. His details are on our website. If you go to castlevillagehall.co.uk and click on policies and see all our servicing.
Anyone know how much they're paying? Is it like a call out fee and then so much per extinguisher?
I'm trying to pull up our latest bill. That's why I'm looking at my laptop.
Yeah.
Ours is done by, well, we've just moved from Protect to Black Box for the fire things, you know, the emergency lights and all that sort of thing. So they do ours.
I don't think we've got anything like technical, just some power extinguisher blanket. Oh, that's given me a few more names to get some quotes.
Ours is Lancashire Fire Protection, and yes, they charge per unit. I can't even remember if there was actually even a call out fee, but they're absolutely, he's wonderful. And he also, because he didn't do fire alarm testing, but he recommended somebody who we've also gone with, because we were one of the last few halls, I think, in the world using Walker Fire. And when they absolutely fleeced us very painfully, we found Lancashire Fire Protection. So I would strongly recommend them.
They do like your emergency lights and everything.
The people who do the fire alarm do the emergency lights as well.
We're currently using Agnew Fire from Fleetwood.
Right.
But I was a bit peeved off that he charged me a £40, you know, like call out charge or charge to attend twice for two holes that are next door to me.
Whereabouts,
you know, literally. Agnew Fire, they're called in Fleetwood. But
all right, whereabouts is your hall?
Forton.
Right.
And it was like 40 quid for the one and 40 quid for the other, and they're literally a 1 minute walk from each other. I said to him, can't I just take all the fire extinguishers from the one and stick them in the other? He didn't find that funny.
No.
Right, okay, thanks very much.
Okay.
Right, thanks very much indeed, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank
you. Thanks,
Sorry,
everyone.
Eileen.
Oh, they're all buggering off.
Go on, Eileen.
Are we all
Saying our
buggering
next
off?
is our next physical meeting, which is the 30th of September. I did provisionally book Grimsby Village Hall, but I'd still be open to anybody saying that they would be prepared to host it. It's a morning only thing from about 9 to about 1. So if any of you have got a vacant space and want to showcase your village hall, do let me know.
When do you want this, Eileen?
It's Saturday the 30th of September, David.
Okay, thank you.
So just let me know. I'll be putting a reminder on the email. It'll be going out sometime in the next couple of days with a link to the video recording, etc., etc. So
yeah,
really good.
Can I just say,
Bobby's just bleating that he wants his pizza, so I will now.
Right. Can I just say something to David? David, if you want to have a look at Salisbury Village Hall, because we're only up the road, then just send me an email and you can come and check out, you know, look how the fob system operates if you wish to do so.
Wendy, could you send me your email address then?
I could, but I don't know yours.
Right. I know, but if you've got a pen and paper, I can write it down. You can write it down.
Okay.
All right. It's all lowercase.
Yes.
It's David.
Yes.
JC.
Yes.
Procter, PROCTER.
Yes.
54.
Yes.
@gmail.com.
Okay, no problem. I'll do so.
That'd be really good. I spent half my youth in your village, in your Salisbury Memorial Hall.
All right. Well, you can come and have another look round.
Excellent.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Eileen.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Eileen, just one quick one.
About the trustees meeting, Anne, all right?
Yes, fine.
Okay, right.
Okay. Bye.
Nice to see you, Anne.
Yes, and you. Bye.